Hello everyone, welcome to today's YouTube live session. And today's session is about all our new upgraded indicators. So we have upgraded all our indicators. We have built them from ground up, taking all the feedback we have been getting from you people. And the demand supply zone indicator is now almost 20 times faster than the previous version. So currently, we are at version 5.5, but now we will be upgrading to version 6, and that version 6 will be almost 20 times faster. So as we move ahead with the session, I'll show you how it works much faster versus the current version we have, and talking about when these new indicators will be available. So before the end of the day, right, today itself, we will be updating them. So if you already have access to any of these tools, by default you'll have access to the latest version as well. So again, you don't have to resubscribe for the new version if you already have an active access, be that a paid access, or maybe you're still trying the demand and supply zone indicator demo. In every which case, once we upgrade it from the backend, before the end of the day, it is going to happen, and you people will have access to it then. All right. So starting with the first, what is demand supply zone indicator? So demand supply zone indicator, it basically helps us identify zones on the charts, right? So the manual labor which we had to do, where we had to open the chart and identify where are the demand areas, where are the supply areas, the indicator will do it by itself. And at the end of the session, I will also take your questions queries. So if you have some questions queries, just keep holding on to it. And at the session end, you can then start putting your questions queries into the chat box. I'll definitely help you with them. All right. Now, first thing, what is demand supply trading? So demand supply trading is a strategy which is focused on identifying price levels where demand and supply are out of balance, thus anticipating price reversals, right? So these are the area where we are anticipating prices can reverse from. And why is it popular? Because it offers a structured approach to trading with clear entries and exit levels. And yes, if you want to master demand supply trading methodology, we also have a 100% free course for it. The link is available in the description, and the course not just covers the methodology theoretically, it also takes care of practical sessions. So I do practical sessions almost every weekend where we get into the application of demand supply trading methodology, taking some real life examples. All right, so the first issue when you're doing the analysis manually is lack of objectivity, right? So what happens is identifying correct demand areas, identifying correct supply areas in itself is a challenge, and plus personal biases can also affect our trading decisions. Next, it is also very time consuming because when you're doing the analysis manually, it requires significant effort and also expertise. Next, it can also lead to overtrading or missing opportunities because you can misjudge zones, which can lead to overtrading, or you can also miss some critical zones, which can lead to missing opportunities as well. If you are doing it manually, your results can also be inconsistent, and the reason is maybe you're not able to identify these zones correctly, so that leads to inconsistency, and definitely psychological pressures, because what happens is when we are doing it manually, we have a lot of emotional pressure because of that uncertainty whether I'm identifying the zones correctly or whether I'm making some mistakes with identifying the zones. And what is demand supply zone indicator? How does it help? It's a powerful tool which is designed to automate the identification of high probability zones. It is developed using the core principles of demand supply trading. And if you talk about the key features, like I already said, it automatically plots the zones on the chart, helps you identify high quality demand and supply areas. It works across all time frames, all asset classes, and how all this solves the problems we were talking about. One, it eliminates the biases by relying on predefined rules for zone identification. Yes, manually it is time consuming, but now you save time by automating your zone plotting, which allows traders to focus more on your strategy and less on identifying the zones. Talking about overtrading and missing opportunities, the indicator helps you accurately highlight high probability zones, ensuring that traders only act on valid setups. Talking about inconsistency, using the indicator, it standardizes your zone plotting and also ensures consistency. And when it comes to the last issue we were talking about, if we do manual analysis, which is psychological pressure, using the indicator provides confidence in decision making by delivering reliable and rule-based analysis. So again, just a quick recap. What are the key benefits? First one is accuracy, identifies high probability zones. Next, it cuts your analysis time. Talking about consistency, because it is based on some logics, based on some rules. The indicator will be very consistent in identifying similar kind of zones. And scalability, because it works across all asset classes, be that stocks, be that futures, be that commodities, be that cryptocurrencies, be that the Indian market, be that the international market. So it works across the board, any markets, any time frames. And definitely it helps in confidence because it removes the uncertainty, boosting the trader morale. Okay, so now let's talk about the indicator. Let's see a quick walkthrough of the indicator. Now, the first thing what I'll do is, because if you look at the thumbnail, and the thumbnail itself says, the indicator is 20 times faster than the previous one. So let me show you first that in reality that how it is 20 times faster. So what I'll do is I'll go for a 2-chart layout, and let's open the same symbol on both of them. So let's keep it as the same symbol. Let's take maybe Nifty. And what I'll do is I'll add the old indicator here. Right, so let's go to invite only. It's the demand supply zone indicator. So you can see on the right hand side, I have added the current version, which everyone as of now have access to, which is the 5.5 version. And on this side, I will add the version 6 demand supply indicator final. All right, so can you see here we have the older version, here we have the here we have the newer version, here we have the older version. Now if I change the time frame, you might say that's really, they are loading almost at the same time, though you can still see this is a little lagging, but it's not a 20 times lag. Now the reason is because currently I'm on a very big time frame. You can see currently I'm on a monthly chart, but if I go to a smaller chart, let's say I go to a 5 minutes chart, can you see already have the zones? This is still loading. Can you see it's still loading? Now it has identified the zone. And now the more the data, the slower they get. Now, just as an example, if I say currently it is only identifying quality areas, I'll say I don't want to identify quality areas. I want to identify all demand supply structures. And I do the same thing here, that I want the indicator to identify all demand supply structures. Now you can see it has already identified, even though I did the settings here first, and you can see it is still loading, and this one is already done with identifying the zones for you. So let's see how long does it take. So can you see it's still taking time, still taking time, still taking time. And can you see now it has loaded. Now if I just change the symbol, let's say I go to Bank Nifty, you can see already have your zones. And if you just count the number of seconds, probably it's 5 seconds now. If you look at it, can you see maybe now we are almost close to 10 seconds. Maybe now we are close to 15 seconds. Can you see this is still not loaded? And now the indicator is showing the zones. So can you see how fast the loading speed is of the new indicator? You just open the chart, and not just 5 minutes time frame. Let's say if I go to a 1 minute time frame, you will see it loads almost instantaneously, and this is now still loading. Can you see it's still trying to identify where the zones are, and probably it's going to take at least 15 to 20 seconds for this to identify the zones and then plot the zones for us. So let's wait and see this for the last time. And this is, the very first change that we have made to the indicator, which is its loading speed, because this was the number one feedback which we were getting from you people. And we try to take your feedback very, very seriously and make those modifications. So now that being said and done, and I have showed you definitely the new indicator is much, much faster than the older version. Now let's move ahead and look at the features of the new indicator. So what I'll do is, for now, I'll just make it as reset so that we are starting with the default settings. All right, so currently, some quality zones are a little far away. Maybe let's go to Nifty. All right, so the first thing is, once you have access to the indicator, you will be able to add it to your charts from the invite only tab on your TradingView. So again, we provide a 100% free 7-day trial of this indicator. If you're still not taken the trial, how can you take the trial? Let me also help you with that. See, again, the link is available in the description. Otherwise, once you visit our website, you can go to services, you can go to TradingView indicators, and here you can see the zone indicator. Click on it, and then on the left hand side you have 7 days free trial. Click on it, and here you can fill these details and you can get the 7 days free trial. All right, so now that you know how you can get the free trial, now let's talk about what features do we have. So for, okay, let's start with this only. So you can see the first thing is what kind of patterns the indicator should detect. Do you want drop-based rallies, rally-based rallies? So currently, can you see all 4 of them are selected? So let's assume this is a rally-based drop. I'll tell the indicator, I don't want you to detect rally-based drops. Now you will see it will not detect rally-based drops. It is only identifying the other 3 patterns. Similarly, here we have a drop-based rally. So if I say I don't want drop-based rally, this will not be getting identified. So you can choose what kind of patterns you want. Next, when we move on to multiple time frame analysis, this is where your automatic settings can be used. We'll talk about it later. Let's move with the regular settings first. Now, the next thing is what kind of patterns you want the indicator to identify for you. Can you see currently it is identifying the regular patterns and the follow through patterns. So if I just disable this, let's see, we don't have any follow through pattern. Let me go to a smaller time frame just to help you understand what is a follow through pattern. So if I say I don't want regular patterns, perfect. So now you can see we have some follow through patterns. So a follow through pattern basically means that your very first leg out might not be explosive, right? So that is what I've given as the settings, that if my very first leg out is not explosive, it is a good enough move, and the second candle is also a good move. Can you see it is a good move? It is a good move. That is what we call as a follow through pattern. So this is what this option does, what kind of zones you want to see, whether you just want to see the regular zones, which means with an explode, the wherever your settings will be for the a regular zone strength. And then you also have the option for the follow through, where it will look at the selection for your strength, and based on that it will identify. And the next thing is I also want to see gap zones. So if I say, okay, I don't want to see these, I just want to see the zones based on the gap. Now you can see it is showing me all the zones which are based on the gap. So that option is also there now. You can choose either any of the 3, or you can choose all of the 3. You can choose any 2, right? It's your choice how you want to. But with the gap, now we also have another feature which says that require overnight gap, because you understand that if you have gone through my course, you understand that when we are looking at zones, we are looking at zones with an overnight gap. But we also got a feedback from some of you that I know it is basically of no use, because whenever we are looking at zones, we only want zones which have overnight gaps. So we don't have any on this one. So let me go to a time frame where I can see. Okay. So now what I can also do is, in fact, this, let's see if we get or not. I can also say, okay, I want gap zones, but it is not mandatory that it requires overnight gap. So currently it is only identifying zones based on overnight gap. If I disable this, now it might identify more number of zones. Let's zoom out and see if it does it, because we'll need to have those kind of structures. Okay, so here you can see it is identifying a zone as of now. If I check mark this one, I require only overnight, that one gets removed. So let's zoom into it and see how this one is basically working. So this is where you have it. Okay, let's go to the settings. Okay. I'll have to probably go to a 5-minute chart, because it might be much more easier. And maybe I can choose a symbol where we might have some gaps during the live market, right? Let's see on this one. I'll say I need the gap zones and overnight. Do we have any? Okay, and if I say that it is not mandatory, perfect. So now you can see this. If I say that overnight is not mandatory, so here you can see that during the live market, we had a gap down. Now it is also identifying that zone because of the gap down. But if I say I only want zones which are based on overnight gaps, then all these zones which happened during the live market, uh, they will get removed. So that's another feature. But ideally, yes, we only want overnight gap zones. But now, yes, if you want to see even the zones which were not overnight zones, that can be enabled and disabled. All right, so that basically takes care of this section. Now the next one is whether you want the zones to be drawn or not. Now this by default I'm pretty sure everyone would want, because that is the main idea behind the indicator, that it should be drawing the zones for us. But if I disable it for a minute, you will see now it is did I select all zones? Let me just okay, I think this draw zone had to be removed. I forgot to remove it. Not to worry. We'll make the modification before we upload it, because initially I thought, let's give this option, but then I thought we would always want to see the zones on the chart, right? Why else are we using the indicator? So maybe we forgot to remove this option. So this will be removed. We'll not be having this option. So you will always be seeing the zones on the chart. Yes, if you don't want to see the zones, you can always disable from here, right? So that was the reason why this had to be removed, but we have still not removed it. Anyways, now the next thing is whether I want to see the tested zones or not. So if I go to, let's say again, a smaller time frame, you can see currently it is also showing me tested zones. If I say that I don't want to see tested zones, you will see that now it is only showing fresh. I'll say show tested zones. Now it will show tested zones. So you can always choose based on your preference what kind of zones you want the indicator to show you. Let's do it again. Can you see if I say show tested zones, it is showing tested demand areas, it is showing tested supply areas. So you can choose it based on your preference. Okay, next thing is your zone method, whether you want the zone to be identified based on wick to wick method or body to wick method. So if I again go back, let's say I go to Nifty, and currently default is wick to wick, so you can see it is drawing the zone wick to wick. If I change it to body to wick, now you will see it will start drawing the zones from body to wick. So that's your option for how you want the proximal line to be drawn. Next is whether I want the zone to be identified based on if the leg-in candle is bullish or bearish, or based on the candle color. So let's see if I can also find an example where we can understand what this basically does. So if I change it, is any of the zone changing? This one is changing. So let's take this as an example. All right. So what you can see here is that currently we have a leg-in, which is a red color candle, right? So a red color candle, going by the candle color, you might say it's a drop-based rally. And that is what it is identifying, because I have said that do the leg-in based on the color. But if you talk about this candle, it is basically a bullish candle, right? Even though it is red, it is a bullish candle. So if I change it to bullish bearish, you will see that my pattern is now detected as a rally based rally, and the distal line is shifted here, because in a rally based rally we don't take the leg in for the distal line. So that's the option how you want the zones to be identified based on whether the leg in candle is bullish or bearish, or whether the leg in candle should be used based on the color. Okay, next is if you want all demand supply structures, not just quality. So as of now, it will only identify structures based on whatever your number of basing candle setting are, your settings for the strength are. But if I want that, irrespective whether it is quality or not, I want to see all structures on the chart, I can select all demand supply structures, and now you will see the indicator will identify many more areas for us, which are again demand supply areas, but they might not be quality areas, right? So that option is also there to see all zones. Next, if you want to show the pattern name, you can check mark this, and now you can see the pattern name is displayed inside of the zones. Now if you feel that it is showing a little smaller and I want it to be a little bigger, I think we have given the option for it. Yep, there it is. Can you see the text size? I can make it even smaller. Can you see now it is tiny? I can say small, right? Then I can say normal. So this was the normal size. If I want large, I can make it large. If I want huge, now it is a huge size, right? So you can do it as per your preference. Similarly, you can also choose whether you want to see the proximal distal values. Now you can see we also have the proximal distal values on the chart. And maybe I can again go back to normal size. And I can maybe say I don't want to see the proximal distals. I don't want to see the pattern name. I just want to see proximal distals. And now you can see it is available inside of the zone. So you'll have your proximal distals and the pattern name, plus what should be the color you can choose, what should be the text size you can choose based on your preference. Next, when it is identifying zones for you, how many candles do we want in the basing? What should be the strength for the regular pattern where we are only looking at one leg out, right? And what should be the strength where we are looking for two leg outs, which we call as the follow through pattern. And you can choose the strength of both the candles individually. So maybe I can say the first one should be good and the second one should be explosive. So just as an example, I can say that I just want follow through patterns. And what I'll do is I'll zoom out so that I can see if it is identifying any follow through patterns for us, right? So you can see it is identifying this follow through pattern. Now what I can tell the indicator is that even while you are identifying the follow through pattern, I want the first one should be good, but the second one maybe should be explosive. And can you see now it is not meeting the criteria of explosive? That is why it is not identifying it. But let's zoom out and see, do we have anything? So here we have a zone. Can you see which will match this criteria? So here you can see the first one is not as explosive, but the second one is definitely much more explosive. So yes, you can select based on how you want these patterns to look like. So let's go back to regular and let's change this to good and good. Okay, so that basically takes care of some of these settings. Now all other things are basically cosmetic. So when you are talking about the zones, you can see when the zones they get identified, by default the color of the basing is blue, the color of the leg outs are black. So you can change them as per your preference. So the color of the basing candle, so I can say, okay, for the basing candle I don't want blue, maybe I want something like purple. So now you will see the basing candles have changed to purple. Similarly, when we are talking about the leg outs, what should be the color for the rally and the drop? So currently you can see both are black. I can say for rally, I want maybe yellows. You can see all my rallies will convert to yellows. And I can say maybe my drop, I want maybe, let's take this color. You can see now the drop color has changed. So yes, you can definitely choose this as per your preference. Let me now reset it again. Okay, after that, the border width. So this is basically the zone border width. I can make the zones more thicker. I can make them thinner. One will be the lowest. Default is 2. Again, when you are identifying fresh areas, what should be the fill? So can you see my fill is empty, but if I say I want some color inside of it, it will also fill it with the color. What should be the border color? Currently it is green. If I want to change it again, I can change it. Let's say I make it black. So now you will see for demand it is identifying it with black colors. Let's again reset this. Similarly, if the zone is tested, what should be the color? Let's go to maybe some other time frame. Okay, here we have some tested zones. Right. So just like we were changing the color for the fresh zones, we can change the color for the tested zones. Same thing, you know, what should be the color inside? What should be the color of the border. Similarly for supply you can do that. Now the next thing is my curve analysis. Now if I want to manually check the curve, let's go to maybe the daily chart, right? So if I want to manually check the curve, I can just simply click on show curve analysis and it will draw the curve for me. Right, and then you can also choose your colors, what colors you want for the curve analysis. And similarly, if you want to see the zone violation analysis, you can click on this and it will show you that we have one demand and one supply violation as of now, which makes it as a sideways trend. And that basically covers all these options. The only one left now is your auto settings for multiple time frame analysis. So let's assume I'm doing multiple time frame analysis for which my higher time frame is monthly. So how do you input your time frame? So if you just hover over it, it will tell you that for your minutes you just have to use from 1 to 1440. Now if you're going from daily chart to 365 daily chart, you have to do 1D will means daily, 2D will means a 2-day chart, 3D will mean a 3-day chart, right? So that is how you can do it. Similarly for weeklies, you can do 1W for 1 week, 2W for 2 weeks. Similarly for monthly, 1M for monthly, 2M for 2 months, right? So that is how you can do it. So let's say I want my higher time frame to be monthly, so I'll make it as 1M. My intermediate I want is weekly, so weekly would mean 1 week, right? and my refining time frame, let's assume I want to take it as 60. So once I enable this setting, what will happen is whenever I go to these time frames, the applicable settings will get applied. So can you see if I do this? So higher time frame is for curve analysis. You will see as soon as I go to the monthly, it will automatically do the curve analysis. Now, why is it not doing curve analysis on this one? Because we only have a demand area. We don't have any supply, right? For curve analysis, we require both demand as well as supply. So let's see if I can pick some other symbol where we might have. So now let's take this as an example. Can you see on this, we have a demand area, we have a supply area. So it has automatically done the curve analysis for me. I have also check marked all and fresh. So here we don't have a lot of zones. Let's go to maybe a symbol where we might have a lot of zones. Okay. Or maybe I can go to a smaller time frame where, oh, I can't go to a smaller time frame because I've selected man. Okay, so what I can do is I can go to a smaller time frame, and yes, then maybe I can select that this is my higher time frame, right? So let's make this as 240. 240 would be my higher time frame. Perfect. So can you see now it is doing the curve analysis for me. Now currently you can see my settings are, it can use all zones, right? Which means whether it is quality, whether it is not quality. And whenever all zones is enabled, you will always see at the bottom, which is telling you it is identifying all zones, not just quality zones. Now, if I want to do my curve analysis only on quality zones, I can always keep it disabled. Now it will only identify quality zones, and these two are definitely quality. And based on that, it is identifying the curve for us. But now the problem is these are already fresh. So I want to see... Okay, so can you see it is only doing on fresh zones. Now, if I'm okay with using tested zones, now you can see it has started identifying tested zones as well. And based on those tested zones, it is doing the curve analysis for me. So by default, it is looking at all zones and only for fresh areas. If you don't want fresh areas for curve analysis, you're okay with using tested zones for curve analysis, you can disable it. So this is now an option which is available to you, whether you want to use fresh areas or whether you're okay with using tested areas for your curve analysis. Similarly, when you're going to your intermediate time frame, you only want to do it based on all zones or quality zones, right? So currently I've selected weekly. So if I go to weekly, it will show me we have 2 demand violations, but now it is identifying based on all zones. If I say even for my zone violation analysis, I want only quality areas, I can disable it. Now it is telling me my zone violations based on the quality areas, right? So that is also something you can enable, disable. And similarly on the refining time frame, what kind of zones you want. So again, in the previous version, you did not have the option to choose what kind of zones you want, whether fresh or not fresh. Now you also have those options so that you can customize your curve analysis, your zone violation analysis based on your trade plan. So that basically takes care of all the features that we have added to the demand supply zone indicator based on the feedback we have been getting from you people. And the biggest thing is you can see now, even if you go to a 1 minute chart, it just loads instantaneously. You don't have to wait, which was the case with the previous version. So you can see that it's working amazingly fast, and that is what it does now. All right, so that takes care of our demand supply zone indicator. Now let's move on to the next one. So just give me a second. Let me bring up the next one. Yeah, so just a few more seconds. All right. So the next we'll be talking about alerts, right? So demand supply zone alerts indicator. And like already said, whatever your questions queries are, I'll take those questions queries at the end of the session. Let's cover all these tools first. So yes, now talking about if you are doing demand supply analysis, what are the challenges we face when it comes to, see, the indicator is definitely helping us identify the zones, but how do we shortlist symbols, right? So now there are 2 ways to do it. One is our alerts, the other one is the screener. We'll talk about both of them. So we are starting with alerts now. So first thing is, if you're doing it manually, it's not possible for you to constantly monitor multiple number of charts, right? And yes, that can lead to spending hours tracking multiple assets across multiple time frames. Second challenge is that the traders can miss key trading opportunities, because by the time trader notices a demand or a supply zone, the best opportunities might already be gone. Psychological and emotional pressure, definitely, because you need to watch charts all day, which leads to stress and fatigue, and also it can impact your trading decision. And yes, doing it manually is also late, and it can also be inefficient in trade execution, because without alerts, traders, they often miss the trading opportunities, which also reduces their profitability. Now, what is demand supply zone alerts indicator? So it is a powerful tool which will trigger visual notification on the chart and also TradingView alerts. Now, previously it was only alerts on TradingView, but now we are also providing visual. We'll talk about it why, so that you never miss a demand or a supply zone on the chart. And why is it essential? Because it eliminates the need of constantly monitoring multiple number of charts. It notifies traders automatically, allow them to take actions promptly. And how this solves all these challenges we were talking about. So the very first one was, you had to constantly monitor multiple charts. So what happens with the alerts? The indicator can be applied to any market, any time frame, triggering alerts as soon as a demand or supply zone is formed. Talking about missing key trading opportunities, the alerts, they help you instantly notify, whenever you have these setups on the chart. The psychological and emotional pressure is gone because it reduces your screen time. You don't have to go through a lot of symbols. It will keep telling you where these zones are getting formed. And yes, talking about late or inefficient trade execution, the alerts are as good as real time. Now, once you talk about, let's say, yes, I want the alerts, but do I have to subscribe to the demand and supply zone indicator separately? The answer is no. With one alerts subscription, you get multiple benefits. So you get access to the demand supply zone alerts indicator, which we will be talking about. And you also get access to the demand supply zone indicator with alerts, right? So we'll be covering both of them now. And plus, I will also add, because we have another tool which is called as screener. So we have an option for a combo subscription. So when you go for a combo subscription, you get all three. You get the indicator, you get the alerts, you get the screener. And this is priced almost 37% less than if you were subscribing to alerts and screeners separately. All right, so again, key benefits: you get real-time alerts, you get notifies traders immediately when a new demand zone or a supply zone is identified. You can customize it based on whatever time frames you want, whatever zone criteria you want, whatever asset class you want to apply it to. Works on all markets, be that stocks, futures, forex, commodities, cryptos. It is compatible on all time frames. You can use it on a 1 minute time frame, you can use it on a monthly time frame, wherever your preference is, and it seamlessly integrates into TradingView, and setting it up is very, very easy, and that is what we'll be seeing next. All right, so what I'll do is, the first thing is, I'll start with the two indicators. So we'll start with one of them. So what I'll do here is I'll remove this. We'll again go to version V6. So we'll start with first demand supply zone indicator with alerts. So what happens is, when you subscribe to alerts, you get access to the demand supply zone indicator as well. But this indicator also has an alert feature built into it. So what is this alert feature? Now, see, currently only the crypto market is live, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to crypto market so that I can show you how it works. So you can see I have a list of symbols, and what I'll do is I'll go to a 1 minute chart. And then if I want to get notified as soon as we have a formation of a demand area or a supply area, that is what I want. So I can click here, I can click on add alerts, and then I can say I don't want to add alert. In fact, because I am setting for crypto, I'll have to choose a crypto symbol, right? And I'll say, okay, I want to set my alerts, but I want to set my alert on what? Not just BTC USDT. I have my watch list, so I want to set my alerts on the complete watch list. Can you see this watch list have 17 symbols? So we'll talk about it, a few more important things as we move forward. So I'll say, okay, I want to set it on my complete watch list. So it is now, it will now monitor all these 17 symbols, and any pattern is formed, or you can choose whether you want only for demand or you want only for supply. That is your choice. And we also want to select once per bar, because if you just select it once, it will only I notify you once, then it will stop working. But what we want is that every time a zone is formed, I want to get notified. So you'll select once per bar. Then you have your option when it should expire. You can choose your message, you can choose your notifications, whether you just want the notification on the app, you want a pop up on your TradingView, you want emails, right? So whatever you want, you can choose, and you can click on create. So now what you will see is I have created this alert, and this alert is basically monitoring 17 symbols. And currently you can see that the alert log is blank. So what will happen is now, as and when the zones will form, I will start getting these notifications in the log. So you can see in about 30 seconds, a candle will complete and a new candle will start. So let's wait for a few seconds to see how the alerts they basically work. So what you will see is, and if out of these 17 a zone forms on any of the symbol, will immediately get the notification. In fact, what we can do is we'll just wait for these 10 seconds just to see whether a zone forms or not. And if it is still not formed, by the time I'll talk about a few more things, and hopefully until we cover them, we'll have some alert notifications. Okay, so currently we don't have a formation of a zone on any of those 17 symbols. Now let me touch upon something important here. So see, what happens is, if you have a basic plan, which is a free plan, if I go down and if we go to alerts, so you can see the way I placed my alert as of now was that I placed an alert on an active watch list, right? I placed an alert on an active watch list. But the problem is, if you have a basic account, it is not allowed. If you have an essential account, still not allowed. If you have a plus account, still not allowed. Only when you get to the premium account or beyond premium, here you can still set only 2 alerts on the watch list. Here you can set up to 10. Here you can set up to 15. So now the problem is, someone who's using a free account, how do I do it, right? Or someone who's also even using the essential and plus account, you still can't do it. So what is the alternative to it? So we will be talking about that alternative as well. But currently I just want to start with the very first one, right? Which is, you can set alerts, something like this. Now what I'll also do is I will also show you that how easy it is to do it for a very big list. Now again, only if you're on premium or above, you'll be able to do it. So can you see, if I now load a watch list, can you see this watch list has 1,000 symbols, and placing now alert on these 1,000 symbols is as simple as, I'll just go to this and I'll select all my 1,000 symbols and I'll say once per bar, and I will click on create, and now you can see I have another alert which is for 1,000 symbols. So can you see, in just few seconds now, this alert is monitoring 1,000 symbols on NSE, but since the market is currently off, it will not generate any alert for NSE. But now my alert is set on those 1,000 symbols, that on those 1,000 symbols during the live market, as soon as we'll have a formation of a demand area or we'll have a formation of a supply area, it will immediately notify us. But again, mind it, these alerts which we were setting based on the watch list is only available to someone who has a premium account or above. Now, someone who doesn't have a premium account, or if you are below a premium, how do we do that? We'll also talk about it as we move forward. But currently I'm waiting for some alerts to get generated, right? So this one, let's delete, because this I don't need now. Okay, maybe because it has to delete for 1,000 symbols, it's taking some time, but let's wait for this one to trigger some alerts, because once this is done, in fact, what I'll do is, let me do this. I can probably change my settings and say I want alerts not just for quality areas, even for non-quality areas. Then we might have some alerts generating really, really quick. So what I'll do is I'll say that I want all demand supply structures, right? And I'll say I want to, let me do this, refresh it first. Okay, and now I'll say I want for all zones and alert to these, not to change, for cryptos, right? So we'll go to this and I'll say I want to set for my 17 cryptos once per bar. And currently, because my chart settings are that not just quality zones, any zones, it will trigger for any zones, right? So we'll create, right? So I'll pause the quality one. The second one which we just placed is now for, so can you see we just got some alerts? And can you see if I go to this, you will have a formation of a zone. Can you see as soon as the zone formed, we immediately got the notification. But now this might not be a quality area. Why? Because I selected specifically non-quality areas so that we can see some examples. And this is what will happen now, that if every time a zone forms, we'll immediately get a notification on which symbol a zone has formed, and we can, quickly click on it and you can go to that particular symbol and see that particular zone. So let's wait for a few more seconds because we are almost at 16. Once this candle completes, we'll again might have formation of more demand areas, more supply areas on some of the charts because we have already selected non-quality zones. So there might be quite a few non-quality zones out of those 17. So let's wait for a few seconds. So now you can see I got 4 alerts. This has a zone. Can you see immediately as soon as the zone formed, we got notification. As soon as the zone formed, we got a notification. As soon as the zone formed, we got a notification. As soon as the zone formed, we got the notification. You can see this is what alerts they basically do, that during the live market, as and when the zones are getting formed, it keeps notifying you. All right. So what I'll do is I'll remove this, and what I'll do is I'll also enable. Okay, let me not do that, right? Because that will cause confusion. So just give me a minute. Right. Perfect. And let's go back to only active. Great. So now this basically covers alerts for someone who is having a TradingView account, which is either premium or above premium, so that you can set your alerts on the watch list. So now the problem was that people who have basic account, who have an essential account, who have a plus account, they are not able to utilize the alert, right? And why they are not able to utilize the alert? Because first thing is you can't place it on the watch list. Now, even if you want to place alerts on individual symbol, now if I go to alerts again, where do we have alerts, charts, technical analysis, watch list, alerts? Perfect. So can you see if I have to set alerts, you can see now TradingView does not allow you to place any technical alert on your indicators. So in a basic account, you can't place any. Yes, if you have essential, you can still place 20, then you have 100, 400, 600,000, whatever it might be. But now if you're using a free account, you can't even set a alert on a single symbol. So what is the solution? That is what we worked on, and let's talk about that solution. So what happens is, like I said, when you subscribe to the alerts, you basically get access to 2 indicators. One is this indicator, which will help you identify the zones on the chart. So what I'll do is I'll change the settings to quality only. Right, so here we are identifying quality areas, and what I will do is on this chart I'll apply the other indicator, which is my demand supply alerts indicator. So we have demand supply alerts. So we'll have to wait for a few seconds for this to get loaded, because I'm on a 1-minute chart. Now, whenever you load it, can you see the first time it will show you the instructions, how to use it. If you want to hide those instructions, you can simply click on hide, and now the instructions are gone. Now, the one of the biggest challenge, with the alerts and the screener was that you had to add your symbols manually. Now you can add up to 20 symbols on it, but now there are 2 ways to add the symbols. You can, one is your box. Here you can give your symbols as a CSV, like you can see I've given Nifty, then comma, I've given NSE Bank Nifty. So if I've given 2, now I can give up to 18 from here. So the total of these 2 combined can never go beyond 20. So always remember the total has to be 20. So now how it becomes very easy for me. So let's assume now I wanted to analyze those 17 cryptos. So what I've done is, can you see I've created a watch list for me, I have the symbol name, the exchange name and the symbol name. So if I want these symbols, I can simply copy and I can paste it. So now I know that I'll be monitoring these symbols. I'll click on OK, and it will immediately start monitoring it. Now, even though you can't place an alert, right? Because you have let's assume you have a free account, you can't place an alert. But now what will happen is it will visually start showing you where these demand and supply zones are forming on your chart itself. So let's just wait for the indicator to load. Can you see the indicator has loaded now? And once it starts identifying zones, it will start mentioning it here. So let's wait for the candle to close. We are at 3 seconds, 2, 1, 0. Perfect. So you can see as of now, it has not identified on any of the symbols, right? Because there might not be quality areas. So what I'll do is just for the demonstration purpose, I'll say I don't want quality areas. I want all demand supply structures, because this will happen much more frequently, non-quality areas. So let's go for non-quality areas. Okay, so the indicator is loading. So can you see now it has started showing me the name of the symbols. So if I just open it, can you see it is telling me ETH USDT. So if I go to ETH USDT, you will see, okay, so this is telling me for the last one, and now it will get, in fact, I also need to do this. I don't want these two to be synchronized, because otherwise every time I'll change the symbol, this will also start refreshing, which will take a lot of time. So let's wait. Perfect. So now can you see it is showing me about 3 symbols. Now can you see if I'm not able to read this, now you also have the option where this table should be shown. I can say I want this table to be shown at bottom right. So now it will be at the bottom right, and this will make it much more easier for me. So by the time we can open this ADA USDT, was it? Okay, and we also selected we want all demand supply structures, right? Only then it will match. Okay, so we'll have to wait for this to get refreshed for the first time. So let's wait for it to get refreshed. Because what happens is the very first time it loads, it also takes, you know, the symbols which the zones which were formed in the past. But after the first refresh, yes, now it will start giving you the current. So if I go to TON USDT, you will see just now we had a formation, and that is what it is telling me. Now again, as a person who has a free TradingView account, now even if I don't have alerts, can you see from this I'll get to know where these zones are getting formed live, right? So can you see it told me that on this particular symbol a zone formed, and as soon as I went to the symbol, we have a rally base drop. You can see we have a rally base drop. You can also check the proximal distal values. I'll say show proximal distal. So here you can see it is telling me 2.846, 2.846, and distal is 2.849, 2.849. Now, once a new candle again starts, if it identifies more symbols, it will again get refreshed and tell you where these zones are getting formed. So again, you can see that on a free account, yes, I can't place alerts, but now I can at least see it on the chart, right? So now we have on XRP USDT. That is what it is telling me. Can you see we have a drop base drop? It is telling me we have a drop base drop. Proximal is 2.1861 and the distal is 2.1865. So can you see as soon as the zone formed, I got to know about it. Now I didn't require a paid account for it. I could do, now I can do it on a free account. And again, if I want to change the name of the symbols, it is very easy now, because you can see currently I added only these few symbols. Now let's say if I want to add all of them, I can just select all of them. I can double click on this. I can say, okay, my symbols are these. And I'll click on OK. So now you will see it is now identifying those all 17 symbols for me. And that is how easy we have made it for you, which was one of the biggest challenge, how to input these symbols, because when you had to do it manually by entering each and every one of them, it was a challenge. But now you can just create your watch list once, and once you have created your watch list, you simply have to copy paste it and becomes very easy for you. Now another thing you can also do here is, can you see I have the indicator applied, so let it load first, because I've given it more number of symbols. Now it is just taking few seconds to get loaded. Once it is loaded, now it will start showing you for all those 17 symbols. right? So currently, again, we are talking about someone who has a pre-TradingView account, right? So and that is what it is doing. And again, can you see whenever it loads the very first time, it might not show for the current, it might show for the zones which were also formed in the past. But once it is past the the current candle, then it will start showing it based on what is happening as of now. Okay, so by the time this gets refreshed, what I was talking about is what we can also do now is I can copy this indicator, I can paste it again, and what I can do now is I can say to this indicator that for the second one, I want the second one to be loaded at bottom left, right? And what I'll do here is that I'll take this list in this one. Okay, and I'll take this list in this one. So what I'm showing you here is that if you want to apply the alerts indicator multiple times, you can apply it multiple times, and you can have the indicator giving you the results for different lists, right? So on one chart itself, you'll have your results for different lists. So probably on this one, it has still not identified anything. So we'll wait for some time and you will see that it will show me results for both of them. Can you see different result on this one? So this is UNI USDT. Can you see we had a zone, but like I was telling you that it once it loads the first time, it can tell you for something which happened in the past, but after that it will start showing you for current zones. So that is why currently we don't have anything. It has now removed it, and on this one it is showing us for BNB USDT, and this might also show you for the previous one because we just loaded it and we have to wait for it to get refreshed once, then it will start showing you for current zones which are getting formed. So let's wait for another few more seconds because this candle will complete in about 10 seconds and then it will start showing you for zones which are now forming live, right? Because the very first time it loads, like I said, it also takes from the past, right? Because at the time of loading, it is looking at whatever has happened in the past. So it will take. So can you see now this has refreshed? So we have ETH, USDT. You will see we'll have a formation of a zone. No, it was not on ETH. So it was on ADA. Now, why the list is getting, at times a bigger, at times a little smaller, because what happens is that not every symbol on that list might have a starting of a new candle. So only when the new candle starts, it gets refreshed. So that is the reason at times it might show you some of these symbols which might get removed later on. And it's all about, waiting for that new candle to start. So similarly, if I go to TONUSDT, you will again see a zone has just formed, on the as soon as the zone formed, we immediately got the notification on the chart. Now the other one is not showing is because maybe on this one we still don't have a formation of a zone on any of those symbols, right? So that's the reason it is not showing. But yes, if there were formation of some zones, it will also start showing. Okay, now like I said, this is for someone who has a free account. Now you can see that you will have your zones displayed on the chart, but on a free account you can't get notifications. Now someone who has a paid account, right? Someone who has, let's say, a paid account which might be essential, which might be plus, which might be even premium, or maybe expert or ultimate. So now what you can also do is on this one also you can set your alert. You can click here and you can say I want to add alerts. Here you don't make any changes because you can only set it on one symbol. Don't do the watch list. For watch list, use the other indicator, and this will remain as open-ended. Message, I like to keep it blank, otherwise all this will be shown. So I can click on create. So now you can see this also identified a zone, ART USDT. All right, it's near, sorry, near, NEAR, ARU You can see as soon as the zone formed, we got the notification. Now here you can see whenever, because I applied the alert to this one, whenever it identifies, you can just hover over it. You will see the name of the symbol that you have a zone on TON USDT, and you have a rally base drop with this as the proximal, with this as the distal, and it is also showing you exactly the same thing here, that on TON USDT we have a formation of a zone. Can you see we had this rally base drop, and as soon as the zone formed, we got the notification for it. But one thing you have to remember, if I go to the settings, so again, here you can give you a list of symbols. It can be up to 20 symbols, combination of both of them. Next, what patterns you wanted to detect, what kind of patterns you want, we have already talked about it. What method you want, body to wick, wick to wick, right? So how the leg in candle should be taken. Do you want all structures or only quality zones? What should be the settings of the quality, all those. But the last one is the delay in seconds. Now, why the delay in seconds? Because here you can see that it takes a while for the list to get refreshed. Why? Because the zone might have not formed immediately, because it is waiting for a new candle to start. So that is why we have given that 20-second delay. And can you see we just got an alert, and the alerts you can see is telling us which symbol, what kind of pattern, what is the proximal, what is the distal. So again, at times, if you are looking into markets which are not very liquid, you might have to increase it from 20 seconds to maybe even 30 seconds. If you're trading markets which are very liquid, you can even push it down to maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But we have given 20. So what will happen is only after 20 seconds, it will assume that probably now out of this list, all the symbols will have a new candle already started, and then it will only generate the alert. So here it gets updated live. But for alerts, it will wait for whatever your time delay is, right? Whether you want to give it 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it might be. So can you see we just have on ETH USDT, and you can see we got an alert for it that on ETH USDT we have a formation of a zone. All right, so that basically covers our two indicators. One was the demand supply zone indicator. Then we also talked about alerts. And alerts is basically combination of a demand supply zone indicator with the alert feature. Plus you also get this one, which is your demand supply zone, zone alerts. And now you can see whether you have a free account or whether you have a paid account. We have taken care that everyone gets the full advantage, because on a free account, at least you will see it on the screen. And on a paid account, you can also get these alerts. So let's remove this alert now, because you've just seen them live work in action, right? So let's go back to all structures. We'll remove only quality areas. All right, perfect. So that takes care of the second indicator, which was the demand supply zone indicator, demand supply zone alerts indicator. Now let's move on to the last part, which is the demand supply screener, right? So just give me a second. Let me bring up the screener. Then we'll talk about what screener basically does. So just give me a second. All right. So now let's talk about the demand supply screener. All right, so demand supply screener. So again, what are the challenges traders they face? See, now one of the challenge was, where are the zones getting formed? The alerts is taking care of it. But what if I don't want to get notified where the zones are getting formed? I want to know when the prices are almost about to enter my, enter a demand area or a supply area, or it is getting closer to a demand area or a supply area, because alerts is only telling you for the live market. When, as and when the zones are getting formed, it is telling you, okay, a zone has formed on ABC symbol, a zone has formed on the second symbol, a zone has formed on the third symbol. But what if I don't want to know that? I want to know on which symbols I am almost inside a demand or a supply area, or I'm almost getting close to it, right? So that is what screener will do. So again, what are the challenges? Again, scanning too many charts is very exhausting and inefficient. Next, missing key trading opportunities, because the price might have hit the zone, already reacted to it, and you were not even watching it real time. So you missed on that opportunity. If you have to constantly monitor the charts and number of charts, it's definitely mentally draining. and it can also lead to slow decision making because you're already occupied with monitoring so many charts. So what does the demand supply zone screener does? So the demand supply screeners automatically identify symbols that are trading inside or near the demand and supply zones. And why it is essential? Because it saves time by eliminating manual scanning of multiple charts, help traders quickly spot high probability setups. So what is the solution? Because too many symbols, too little time, so a lot of challenges. Screener does it constantly, continuously for you, for multiple symbols, multiple time frames, saving you hours of analysis time. Talking about missing key opportunities, it instantly identifies symbols which are inside or near demand and supply areas. You don't have to do constant market monitoring because the screener will identify based on whatever your custom proximity settings are, which will also reduce your screen time and slow decision making, which was the manual case. With this, you get real time list of high probability setups, allowing you for a quick execution. So again, with the screener as well, when you subscribe to the demand and supply zone screener, you definitely get access to the demand supply zone screener. But with that, you also get access to the demand supply zone indicator, because screener will only shortlist symbols for you. You also want to see where those symbols are on the chart. So definitely with the screener as well, you get access to the demand supply zone indicator. And like I already said, we also have a combo subscription where you get access to both alerts and screener along with that to the indicator. And the combo subscription is price 37% at a 37% discount. So again, the quick benefits: it automatically shortlist symbols for you which are inside or near key demand and supply areas, can be applied to any market. It can be used on any time frames. You can customize your proximity settings. You can also use it on TradingView. In fact, it is only available on TradingView and it is very easy to implement it. So let's look at the walkthrough of this one now. All right, so what I'll do is I'll maybe go to a daily time frame, and this time I'll change to maybe Nifty, because now it doesn't matter whether the market is live or not, because we are not concerned about whether the market is live or not. We just want to know what is happening, where we are getting closer to demand or supply areas, right? So let's do this. Let's change this to Nifty as well. All right, so let me first apply the screener. So that's your demand supply screener. All right, so just like we talked about that with the alerts, similarly with the screener, you can give your list of symbols. And again, in the alerts, you could give up to 20 symbols. Here, you can only give up to 15. Now, the 15 has to be total, right? You can give 5 here, you can give 10 here, you can give 10 here, you can give 5 here. All 15 can be from here, all 15 can be from here. So it's your choice, but the total always has to be 15. Now let's take a same example. Let's say I have a watch list of Nifty, n number of symbols on Nifty. So these are the ones which I want to scan first. So what I can do is I can add these symbols, these 15 symbols, and then I can say, see, rest we have already talked about, what kind of patterns you want and all those things. Now, whenever you're using the screener, you want to identify, I'm getting closer to the zone and or I am inside the zone. So let's talk about getting closer to the zone. So let's say I've given my proximity settings as 2%, which means that from the current candle, my zone will be within 2% range. Now this 2% range should be based on high or low, or whether it should be based on close, that is your choice. And do you want to see the percentage distance? We'll talk about it. What is this percentage distance? By default, it is based on closed. Close, you can also change it to high, low, or you can do it as per your screening method. And then it is cosmetic changes. What do you want the color for the header background, what color you want for your text, what color you want for demands, what color you want for supplies, again where this table should be positioned. So let's keep it here as of now. Perfect. So can you see I gave it a list of about 15 symbols and it is telling me on Adani we are within that 2% range. So if we are within that 2% range, why is it showing 3.84 on the table? We'll talk about it. So let's open Adani first. ADANI EN. So currently I'm on the daily time frame. So you can see it is telling me that on the daily time frame we are within 2%, right? Why we are within 2%? Because we selected that my proximity, we selected that my proximity has to be based on high low. So if you will check the high, you will see that this high will be within 2% of this proximal line. Can you see it is within 2%, 1.45. But what this is telling me is that from my current price, right? Closing is basically always your current price. For my current price, this stock has to move down around 3.84% before it enters this demand area. So you can see it has to move down 3.84% before it enters demand. So this is what it basically does. It tells you how much the stock has to move before it is entering your demand area or your supply area. Like I said, default is based on close. If you want to make it based on high low, you will see that now this will change on high low. And it will tell you based on high low, it now should be less than 2% because that is what our option was. Can you see it is showing 1.45? And if you want to do it as per your screening method, if you're choosing screening method as high low, it will do it based on high low. If you choose it as close, it will do it based on close. Let me go back to close now. So you can see within few seconds, I didn't have to go through those 15 symbols. It just told me out of those 15 symbols, these are the only two which are closer to demand. So similarly, if I go to Asian Paints, can you see we have a demand area and we are definitely closer to that demand area, and price has to move down around 2.73% before we enter this demand. And that is what you can see, it has to move down 2.73% before we enter this demand. Now, someone who has a free account, now how this is useful to you, you can see that I added my 15 symbols. Now, once I'm done with it, I can take my next batch of 15 symbols. I can just double click this, change my symbols, click on OK, and now it will give me for the new symbol. So can you see you can have your batch of symbols in a set of 15 saved for you, as many as you want. You can have 500, 600. So once your first batch is done, you can move on to the second one. So now you can see it is telling me Britannia, B-R-I-T. So Britannia, you will see we have a zone and we are within that range. So it is shortlisting for me. Now, can you see these 15 symbols? If I was doing manually, I would have had to go through all those 15 symbols manually. But now I know that out of these 15, I can just look at one. Similarly, if I want the next list, can you see I can double click, just change, and I have my screener working on the new list now, and it will give me the list name of the symbols from the new list. Can you see now it is telling me Escorts is closer to supply, and it has to move up around 3.38% before it hits that supply. So if I go to ESCORTS, you can see we are close to this supply, and from the close, it has to move up 3.38% before we enter into that supply. Right, so can you see this is how quickly it can help you. Now what you can also do is I can make a copy of it. Right, I can say copy and we'll paste it. And then for this one, I can say that I want the results to be shown at the bottom right corner. Right, so now I can have a different list on this one and I can have a different list on this one. It will just load. So now what I can do is I can say I'll take the next 15 and I double click on this, and now it will shortlist the next 15 for me. Perfect. So can you see now we have HDFC Bank, and you can see we have a demand area, and once it goes down around 2.7%, we will be entering into that demand. Now currently I'm on the daily chart, so it is doing the screening for me based on the daily. If I go to, let's say, weekly, it will do it based on the weekly. If I go to monthly, it will do based on the monthly. If I go to, let's say, a 5 minutes chart, now you can see even for a 5 minutes chart with all those 15 symbols, it will work perfectly. In the previous version, the smaller the time frame was, you had to make your list a little smaller. But now you can see it is working perfectly. Now the reason it is showing so many is because you know that on a 5 minutes chart, quality areas can definitely be within 2% range. So what I can do is I can say, okay, I don't want 2% range. What if I want 0.5% range? We'll do it 0.5%. And for this one also, we'll change it to 0.5% range. 0.5 and click on OK. So now this will get refreshed and it will only show me symbols where we are within 0.5% range. So let's take Cipla as an example, CIPLA. And you can see on Cipla, we have a demand area, and from the close, we need to move down around 0.46% before we enter this demand. So can you see it identified for me? And similarly, let's say Dr. Reddy. So you will have both demand and supply close by. So if I go to Dr. REDDY, You can see you have your demand area, you have your supply area, it is shortlisted for you. And as of now, you can see it is identifying where we are getting closer to the demand area or supply areas. Now, what if I want to identify where I'm already trading inside of a demand area or a supply area? Now, if I'm already inside the zone, the first thing is it has to be a tested zone, right? So you'll have to check mark tested. And then I'll say that I want my proximity to be 0, because 0 would mean that we are touching the zone, right? So let's change it. Okay, I think I did not change it. That, oh, this is basing, my bad. Right, basing cannot be 0, this can be 0, right? We'll click on OK. And similarly, I'll do for this one that I'm okay with tested zones, because I want to identify where we are inside the zone, and we'll give it as 0. And now once it refreshes, it will tell me the symbols where the high or the low will be touching the zone, right? So can you see we have Divis Lab, DIVIS. So can you see we had a supply area, the high is touching the supply area. DLF will have a supply, and the high will be touching the supply. On this one, we don't have anything, right? So can you see we had a high, we had a zone, and the high is touching the zone. Now, what if I want to identify where I am not touching, we are inside the zone, which means my closing has to be inside. So I can now just simply change that instead of high and low, I want this to be based on the closing. And for this one also, I'll change that instead of high and low, I want this to be based on the closing. And now it will identify symbols for me where the current closing will be inside of a demand area or inside of a supply area, right? So can you see in this list, nothing is matching. In this one, nothing is matching. So let's say nothing is matching. I want to change my list. I want now to check next batch of my symbols. I'll click on this. I'll copy paste. Okay. And I'm looking at the next batch of symbols. Let's see if we find something. And if you don't find, then what I'll do is I'll probably change it to all demand supply structures, because then we might be able to find something. Okay, so now we have identified. Can you see if I go to Infi? We will be inside of a supply area on Infi. Can you see? We closed inside of a supply area. Right, so that is what it does. And now you can see that all these tools can be used by anyone, whether you have a free account, whether you have a paid account. Yes, they will have some limitations. But within those limitations of your TradingView account, you can use it. And again, you don't have to just add it twice. Now, let's say if I want to add it multiple times, I can again do a copy. I can do it at least 4 times. Why? Because I can have 4 different locations. So this can be bottom left. And let's apply one more. And this can be the top left. So now you can see I can have 4, and because I'm only using it for scanning, I can also say that I don't want to see the candles, so that my chart is pretty clean. And now you can see I can have 4 symbols, 15 are scanned here, 15 are scanned here, 15 are scanned here. So at one given point of time, I can have up to 60 getting scanned. And what I'll do is I'll change these settings. I'll say that I'll change it to reset to default, right? I'll just show you again quickly. Okay, this one I've reset to default. Reset to, in fact, let me do this to make it much more faster for me. Let me delete all of these first. We'll just take one. We'll reset to default. Right, and then what I'll do is I'll make a copy. 1, 2, 3. I'll paste it 3 times. I'll change the locations for all of them. So this will be top left. This will be bottom left. And this will be bottom right. And now if I want to give different list on all these, I just have to select my list, right? Double click on this, change my list. So can you see my first 15 symbols are done? I can take my next 15 symbols and double click on this. My next 15 symbols are done. I can again take my next 15 symbols. My next 15 symbols I want on this one, and they are done. And my last 15 symbols I'll take from here. I'll double click on this, and my last 15 symbols are done. And currently again I'm on a 5-minute chart, so it will definitely identify a huge list. Now if I go to the daily, now you will see that based on the daily I will get my results for all these symbols, and you can see these are the symbols where we are closer to demand or supply areas. So this is how it can be done. I use the old. Okay, so that basically covers all the tools, and I hope you people liked the way these tools are working now, because now they are not just limited to someone who has a paid TradingView account. Even if you have a free account, you can utilize all these tools, definitely with some restrictions, but at least not having something, it is better to have something maybe with some restrictions, but you can still use it, right? Perfect. So that takes care of all the tools, and you can also see how fast they load. You also saw that now even on a 5 minutes chart, even if you have all the list of 15 symbols, it still works perfectly for you. And now, since we have covered all these tools, let's look into what questions queries we have, and I'll answer all these questions queries. So new version कैसे use कर सकते हैं? So that is what I was just explaining. This is the walkthrough of all those new versions, but currently we have still not made it public. It will get launched before the end of the day. So if you already have access to any of these tools, right, be that paid or be that trial, they will automatically get upgraded, right? You will get a notification on TradingView itself. Just in front of the indicator, you will see that you have an update. You click on that and it will update you to the newer version, right? But before the end of the day, these updates will be done. They are still not public, right, as of now. All right. Is this 7 days free trial? Definitely. For the indicator, you still get those get that 7 days free trial. मैंने सब्सक्राइब किया हुआ है older version. So it doesn't matter. Even if you have a trial version, once it is updated, even on the trial version, you'll have the latest one. So don't worry about it. What is zone violation? So zone violation, again, will not get into the analysis part. It is part of multiple time frame analysis that we do in demand supply trading methodology. To understand what the trend is, right? So once you go through our course, you will be able to understand it. The link for the course is available in the description. Again, the course is 100% free. Please provide demo for demand supply scanner. See, the thing is, the only reason we provide the demo for the indicator is because if you are happy with the kind of zones the indicator is identifying for you, the scanner and alerts, they work on the same zones, right? So that is why we don't feel that you require the alerts or the scanner for a demo. If you're happy with the zones, the scanner and the alerts will work exactly on the same zones. All right, so that answers this question. This is working very well on live market. Friday 4 trade triggered and gave profit. All right, perfect. So happy to know. But again, see, you have to remember, just because you're getting some results, they cannot be blindly traded. So always remember that. The scanner, the alerts, they are, or even the indicator, they are just helping you automate your manual process. Once these things have been identified, you will always have to qualify it based on your trade plan, right? So again, you cannot trade them blindly, but I know this works very, very beautifully. So yes, if you are doing the analysis correctly, it can be a game changer for your trades. Please provide demo for. So I just answered that. If you're happy with the zones the indicator is identifying, the scanner screener will do exactly the same thing. And now the problem is, again, the next challenge is that if we just give you the scanner, but if you don't have the indicator, right, this will be of no use, right? So that is the reason we only give for the indicator, because that is how the system we have designed. All right, so do you trade in Forex? No, I don't trade in Forex. I use the old scanner. These new updates are great. Thank you. All right, so yes, again, we try to work on all the feedback we get from you people, and that is what we worked on, so that you people can have those features which you're looking for. So based on whatever feedback we got, the most requested features we added. And now you can also see the speed by which it is working. You can also see that even on a 5 minutes chart, you give the complete list of 15 symbols. It works perfectly. Changing the name of a symbols is a breeze now. You just create your watch list once, and you can now just simply copy paste it, and it does the work for you. So again, we have tried to make it as user friendly as possible. Will the update automatically for the current users? Absolutely. It will automatically update, but we have still not launched it publicly. By the end of the day, it will get updated for everyone who currently have access to any of these tools. All right, perfect. Any plan to combine screener with the Pine scanner? See, again, we got the request for that as well, but there are a lot of limitations, right? I'll give you a few examples. That one limitation is that it only looks X number of history, right? So we don't have to look for X number of history. We have to look for everything that is available. Then there were a few more challenges as well. So it had a lot of limitations. So that is why we preferred to create it this way to avoid those limitations, right? Perfect. So that basically answers. In fact, let me see if I can find out what were the limitations. So just give me a second. Okay, just give me a minute. All right. So some of those limitations, I'll just quickly tell you. Just a second. Okay, so the first limitation is that with the Pine screener, you only have uh, some fixed time frames, right? But on this one, I can use any time frame, right? So that is one. So that is one limitation. Second, I already told you that there is a limitation of the data that is available, and again, it cannot accept the inputs, right, from the settings. Like as if now I can select what kind of patterns I want, right? I can select how many candles should be in the basing. I can select what should be the strength of the leg out. I can select what kind of leggings I want. But if we do it at Pine Screener, you'll not be able to select all these things, right? So if we set it as default, that default is something which will always work. If I say I only want fresh zones, it will only work for fresh zones. If I say tested, it will only work for tested. So here you can customize. In Pine Screener, you will not be able to customize that. So that is why, because of all these limitations, it was much more efficient for us to design it this way and not with the Pine Screener way. Please do the algo trading indicator for demand supply. See, again, if you think about it, almost your 90% work is done, right? But what I believe is that when it comes to any trading methodology, something which is essential is human experience, right? Algos, they don't have human experience. That is why we have designed our tools in a way so that everything that you're looking for is identified for you. You have to make your final decision. So that is why we'll never be going with the algo approach, because if you cannot put it in a black box and assume that it will be a money making machine for you, right? So you will always have to do your last part of manual analysis, and that is how these tools, they work. They help you reduce your analysis time and only get what you're looking for. Once you have what you're looking for, you quickly do your analysis and see whether it works for you or not. In fact, let me just show you. If someone has let's say a paid TradingView account where you can have up to 4 charts on your screen, how quickly you can do your analysis, right? Let me show you as an example. So let's remove all of these for now. And what I'll do is I'll add the indicator, but I need a 4 screen setup. And what we'll do is we'll add this to the entire layout. And I'll say I don't want my intervals, I only want my symbols, right? And I will say that show me this, show me this. Now let's assume I'm a monthly income trader, right? My this time frame can be monthly. This can be my intermediate, which is weekly. This can be, in fact, let me do this. I'll say date range I don't want, time I don't want. Okay, so we have monthly, weekly, then we have a daily, and let's say this is my refining, which is 60, right? And now what I can do is I can go to my indicator. In fact, I think we didn't do any settings, so perfect. So because this is going to be my higher time frame, I can say that for monthly, okay, I don't just want fresh areas, I'm okay with all. I want to do this is of no use now, right? I'll have to do it manually. So I'll say I want all demand supply structures, and I want the curve analysis to be done, right? So this is going to be my curve analysis. Let me find something where we might have something for the curve analysis. Perfect. This is my intermediate, so I can say on my intermediate I want all zones, and I want my trend, I want my zone violations. This is my lower time frame where I only want quality areas, and this is my refining time frame where, let's say, I want all demand supply structures. Now can you see how easy it is for us to do the analysis? Let's say I have a zone right here. So once I draw this zone, I can quickly see, okay, I have my not getting replicated. I disable it. Symbols, intervals, date range. Because it should get replicated on all time frames. So there is an option. Keep drawing. New drawings will not be synced. Now they will be synced. Perfect. So now you can see that once I draw this, I can see the same zone on my higher time frame. I can see the same zone. So can you see immediately I got to know that we are almost middle of the curve. We have a coinciding level. And I can also check here wherever my zone was that I might have a case of level on top of level. So can you see it doesn't take long. If you have something like this, you just change your symbol and immediately you get all the 4 analysis right there on your screen. And that is why I say that doing the analysis part is not challenging. It hardly takes probably few seconds to do it. Once you have experience, the challenging part is always to shortlist those symbols, and for that these tools can definitely help you. All right, so any coupons for existing users for renewal? See, again, we already have discounts applied to longer term subscriptions. So if you're taking a 60-day subscription or an annual subscription, I guess 60-day subscription has about 16% discount. And talking about an annual subscription, it is, I guess, 30% discount. And again, if you're going for combo, combo is already priced at 37% discount versus if you're taking the alerts and the screener individually, right? So whatever the discounts are already applied. Any plan to include achievement filter for the zone which has violated opposing zones near by pivot? See, again, this is a request we did not get from a lot of people, but even if we want to add it, right? We tried it. I won't say that we didn't try it. We did try it. But the problem is when it comes to looking at how many times the zone has been tested or whether it has violated an opposing zone or not, then the script has to check it on every candle for every zone which has happened in the past, which again brings us back to the indicator loading very, very slow, right? So we wanted the indicator to be very, very fast. So that is why some of these requests, which is show the number of tests, show whether it has violated an opposing zone or not. So that is very resource extensive, and because it is very resource extensive, it will again go back to that 20x speed will be gone. So that is why we did not implement those features. But yes, eventually if TradingView gives some backend options, right, in the coding where it can be done much more efficiently without hindering the speed of the indicator loading, we might add it. Currently, purposely we didn't do it because if you think about it, for every candle we have to check every zone which happened in the past to see whether it achieved something or not, or to see whether it was tested or not, right? So it was more of more of keeping the indicator very, very fast and not giving those features which will make the indicator again slow, right? So that is why we did not implement those features. But yes, again, like I said, in the futures, if it can be done in a way without hindering the speed of the indicator loading, we might add it. Not possible as of today. All right, perfect. So that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you everyone for joining in. I will be doing the same session in Hindi as well. Now, when I'll be doing it, it is going to be today, but I've still not decided at what time I'll do it. But once we do it, we'll update you on our Telegram channel. So if you're still not part of our Telegram channel, that is where we keep updating you regarding all these updates which are related to demand and supply. So if you are not part of our Telegram channel, you want to do that, the link is available definitely in the description. Otherwise, once you visit our website, just scroll down And on every page at the bottom, you'll find join Telegram channel. Just click on join now and you can be part of that Telegram channel so that you have all the latest updates with you. All right. So again, thank you everyone for joining in and staying with me for almost 1.5 hours. I will be seeing you now in the Hindi session, right? So if you are more comfortable with Hindi, you can join in with the Hindi channel as well. Until next time, trade safe. Enjoy your Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.